Hi, everybody, and welcome to my lab day vlog for my final year or final year series. So, right now, I am heading over to my lab where most of the times it's for master's and doctorate students, but as an undergrad, thanks to my supervisor, I was able to set up a bench in this lab. So right now I'm going to visit my friends in the general lab. They're also doing their FYP, and this is me. Today I'm going to be doing a total flavonoid content essay, a TFC essay, and I was supposed to get the protocol for this essay last night, but due to unforeseen circumstances, my supervisor sent the essay protocol over this morning, so I only received it like around 11 a.m. and I had to rush to campus. It's 1:43 p.m. right now, and to rush to campus to do this essay by today. So what I'm doing is basically just reading through what I'm supposed to be doing and everything so that I can prepare early. This is the ethanol extract that I will be doing my TFC essay on. And I kind of forgot that I was recording for a minute. I was preparing everything and then got sidetracked. So, whoops. Uh, that's me locking in. Right now, I am just bringing in the 96 well plates I got from my supervisor yesterday. I'm going to be using one of this for today's essay, and the other one I'm just going to keep it. So now I'm just preparing all of the reagents required. Um, right now, I have a centrifuge tube prepared for my DMSO, and I'm also going to be preparing a microcentrifuge tube and labeling it for my ethanol extract stock. So that's just what I'm doing over here. And now I am going to basically prepare to transfer the DMSO from like this big stock bottle into the centrifuge tube I just labeled, because I guess my supervisor doesn't want to like waste the stock bottle because that's a lot. um so basically that's what I'm doing over here. I'm just transferring it, and instead of using a pipette and transferring it like one by one 10 times because I need 10 ml, I'm just going to use this 5 ml syringe that I found and utilize that because it wasn't being used. And now, on a completely different note, we get sidetracked. Yesterday, when I was making MHA plates, one of them got contaminated. So, what to do? Um, I decided, you know what, let's not waste this plate, let's not just throw it away. I'm going to go and check it or use it to check for the bacterial content in the air of the general lab. So I just swung it around, an open plate, I swung it around, and then I kept it in the incubator overnight for 24 hours. And you can see there's some growth in there. Yeah, very prominent growth, but it was kind of disappointing. Like, I've seen these growths everywhere. Like, give me something new, give me something crazy. Like, what is this growth? It's disappointing me. I never felt so disappointed in my life over a plate like this. So, anyways, it's getting booted. Now that I've already prepared everything, it's time to go and measure my ethanol extract. So I'm here at level 5 because the weighing balances in level 4 is kind of shit. And I'm just going to put my stuff down and I'm going to sanitize my hand with 70% alcohol, which I will then promptly spill on the ground as usual. I also realized while I was wiping my hand with 70% alcohol that it might not be 70% alcohol, because it was just not tingly or cold as a 70% alcohol would do. But don't worry, I wiped the floor that I spilled alcohol on before I got wiped out by the lab staff. And now I'm just preparing the weighing balance. I'm turning it on, I'm zeroing it. It's showing a little bit of instability, but whatever, I just have to use it. I'm taking my prepared microcentrifuge tube for my ethanol extract and I'm weighing that. And then after that, I'm going to basically zero it so that I can get the measurement for just the ethanol extract bits. I would like to remind you that my ethanol extract is in a solid form, so it's a little bit different uh, compared to like the liquid form. It's more easier to break and measure this way. So I'm preparing my ethanol extract right now. And as you can see, it's a pretty like solid resin form. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to take little bits of it and estimate a zero point 0.1 gram amount, and then I'm going to put it into the weighed microcentrifuge tube, and then I'm going to bring that microcentrifuge tube back onto the weigh balance or the weigh scale, and then I'm going to measure it and hope that what I put in or what I estimated is a zero point 0.1 gram. um, it can fluctuate because it's easier to deal with, but I'm just hoping that I get it first try, because that would be insane. Like that would be a plus 1,001 million aura, but like, yeah. Anyways, I did go and measure it, and it wasn't exactly zero point 0.1. It was 0.11 if I'm not mistaken. So back to the drawing board we go. I had to remeasure it once again, and basically like dunking it out and then taking little bits off and then putting it back into the microcentrifuge tube, and I'm back to measuring it once again. And this time I get the measurement that I want. I get the zero point 0.1 gram. It fluctuated a little bit, but at least it fluctuated before, so I am happy. The time is like 2:06, and honestly, it was taking really, really long. This process is really long, but I took my picture for my obtained weight because I need to put that in my logbook, and then I immediately prepped to close my ethanol extract with a paraffin film, and then prepared to go back downstairs to level 4 to begin my essay procedure. I just wanted to note that every time I travel between the levels, I don't use an elevator because the elevator takes so long just to reach the floor that I'm at in the first place. So I'd rather just take the stairs. And let me tell you, if you ever complain that a lab staff, student, or lab personnel is not doing the work, oh, girly, we are putting the work. Imagine having to travel between floors using the stairs every single time. We are putting in the work. So, right now, all I'm doing is preparing to make my stock solution for my ethanol extract. So, I need to dissolve this like the extract that I had just measured in DMSO. So, I need to dissolve zero point 0.1 of the extract in 1 ml of DMSO. I'm just going to speed up this process for you because it's relatively slow for some apparent reason. And I forgot my waste speaker for my pipette tips, so that's just me bringing in the waste speaker. And now I'm just going to mix the two solutions or mixtures together. I'm going to mix the DMSO and the ethanol extract so it mixes up a little bit. And then afterwards, I'm going to bring it in to the vortex. So you can see it dissolve now, but it's going to dissolve further in the vortex. So this is a little bit of a camera change, just me going and setting up the camera so you can see both me, the vortex, and the centrifuges. Um, but yeah, I needed to make sure that the camera is actually panning to me in the centrifuge. But now I can finally begin the vortexing. So it's a very long process. That's why I sped it up. It's an entirely long process of me just standing there, flipping this tube around to make sure that everything is homogenized and everything is mixed in. But it wasn't mixed by the end of the time did I completed the vortexing. It was not mixed together. So basically, I just kind of kept it on the side to let it steep. Now I'm going to be going ahead and preparing my TFC reagents. So the TFC reagents that I just pulled out of the fridge from this aluminum foil is my aluminum chloride, my potassium acetate, and my quasentine standards. So now I'm just preparing the extra things that I need, like the pipette tips, and the distilled water. These are all the things that I will be using in my TFC essay. Oh, and look who decided to show up. It's Derek! Oh my god. Say hi, Derek! Anyways, it's time for me to prepare my Quasentine standard, which is basically the concentration of 0 to 500 UG per ml of quercetin. And it's a long process, again, of just arranging the microcentrifuge tubes, labeling it, and then after that, pipetting everything in based on their measurements to achieve the concentration from 0 to 500. So I'll have 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500, 6 tubes prepared. So now I'm just going to go and vortex my quercetin stock and then come back and begin with the preparation of making the standards. And once again, it's another long process, so I'll speed it up for you. And you have to be very delicate with this process. You have to be very precise because every drop counts. You have to make sure you get the concentration right for each and one of these standards, because if you mess it up, it's bad. You're pretty much screwed. So yeah, this is a long process of adjusting the pipette tips for not pipette tips, but the pipette's volume for each and every centrifuge tube for both the quercetin and also the distilled water being used. So right now I'm going to be going ahead and vortexing and then later on centrifuging my quercetin standards so that everything is like well homogenized and there's no precipitation. And finally, we get to vortex the steeped ethanol extract DMXO mixture. So I'm hoping at this point it's already like very soft, like whatever little sedimentation at the bottom is already fully like dissolved enough for me to go into the vortex and vortex everything till it's properly dissolved. But this was still a very, very long process of me just standing there and flipping the tube around so that every part of it is vortex. Because even if you put a tube on a vortex, it's not like everything inside it's going to be mixed. There is a way, there's a method to hold this damn vortex and make sure that's mixed. But at the end of the day, it wasn't properly mixed, wasn't it? Anyways, right now I am going to go and get my quercetin standards out of the centrifuge tube. So the reason why we centrifuge it is to make sure there's no precipitation whatsoever. Everything is properly homogenized, and the supernatant is purely just the different concentrations. There's nothing else that's going to affect the readings. So I arrange it, and then afterwards I will put it into a new little rack so that my main microcentrifuge tube rack is open for use. Yep. So now I'm going ahead and I'm preparing for my serial dilution with my ethanol extract. So I'm bringing in the microcentrifuge tubes again, and I'm going to collect 7 of them, and I'm going to label them 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32, 1/64, 1/128. So those are my serial dilution concentrations, and then I'm going to fill them all up with 500 microliter of distilled water, and then I'm going to go ahead and prepare a weight for my stock solution of the prepared stock for my ethanol extract that I've been dissolving for a while, and I'm going to go ahead and centrifuge it because I need it to just be the supernatant, no other sedimentation during my pipetting. And I waited a long time, and now that it's done, let me just go ahead and collect it. Now, while I was checking the tube, there were these small egg thingies. I don't know what it was, but I think it was from the vortex. But anyways, I bring it back to the main table and we can now begin our serial dilution, which was a really long process of just transferring 500 microliter from the stock into the 1/2 tube, and then from the 1 over tube transfer, mix it around, transfer 500 to the 1 over 4, mix it around, and so on and so forth until the 1 over 128, where it would have 1 ml instead of 500 microliter. Yeah, it was a really, really long process, but since I've been doing cereal dilution for since I've been doing cereal dilutions for a while, Jesus, it was very normal to me. And I got my set of 8 tubes, which I will then vortex to homogenize everything. And then I will proceed to put it through the centrifuge, which I will then wait for another 1 minute. And finally, I have my cereal dilutions to begin my essay with. And now we prep and prime for the essay. I'm just making sure that whatever I need to, like, whatever protocol that I need for this essay is already there and in front of me. So I clip that page and I prepare my plate, which I'm gonna use. I also prepare my standards, my samples, and then it's time to label my plate. So I take it out of the container, and I have like a few markers that I'm going to use. Basically, like, the red markers is for my Constantine standard test triplicates, and then sample blanks will be blue. And then the black will be my just general labeling, I think. Or is the black my sample blanks? I am not sure. No, the black is standard labeling. My sample blanks are blue, and the red is my Constantine test. Yeah. So, anyways, it is time to begin the pipetting. It's time to start putting in all of the reagents into the wells. Um, and let me just tell you, this is such a long process. It's so long. It takes 30 minutes for me, which I don't think it's supposed to be 30 minutes, but for some apparent reason, it's 30 minutes. And I keep making mistakes. I keep messing up. It is crazy. Like, it's actually sickening. It's sickening. So anyone out there who is a lab master, like a master student, a doctorate, I don't know, who's been doing 96 well plates for a while now, can you let me know what is the best way to pipette for any sort of assay, specifically antioxidant? Like, let me know what is the best way to pipette, because single single well pipetting is crazy. Like, I'm genuinely suffering doing this. We had a multi-channel pipette before and we were supposed to use it, but it broke before we ever could even start. And I've done so many TFC essays at this point, and imagine that pipette broke the first time I used it. It's crazy. Anyways, as I was hitting, or like, I was hitting the plate so that the stuff on the sides, like the liquids on the sides, could come down, liquid came out of the wells. I really couldn't do anything at this point, so I just gave up. I decided, you know what, I'm going to wipe the removed liquids, or the liquids that came out. I'm just gonna wipe it with a paper towel, and then I'm just gonna continue. I'm gonna give up. That's what's happening. I just gave up. I'm cleaning whatever I see. I don't care if it got mixed between each other. I don't care if, things went sideways. I gave up. I'm just gonna continue. I don't care anymore. I couldn't care less. I just wanted this done. I couldn't stay any longer. And I was making so many mistakes. Let me just tell you, a lot of mistakes. I was not surviving at all, one bit. So yeah, we just have to push through. We just have to keep going and keep making our moves. And then I make another big mistake. Like, my life couldn't be even more worse at this point. I had to make another big mistake. Well, you see, when I was pipetting my Quasentine standard, which is like the first part of this plate, the yellow part that you see, I had pipetted it from a lower concentration to a higher concentration. From top to bottom, it was ascending. Now, please observe my sample test part. Look at what I did. And here's me realizing it. As I'm taking the last concentration, I had realized that I had basically put in the samples in a decreasing order instead of an increasing order. But you know what? I gave up. I gave up. I was like, I already gave up the first time. I'm giving up now. I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna do it in the decreasing order, and then later on, when I have to take the measurements for my plates, I am just going to go ahead and take it the way it is, and I'm gonna flip the measurements, or I'm just gonna keep the measurements because I don't have to make um, a a graph for it. Compared to the Quasentine standard, I have to make a graph for it, but this one I don't have to make a graph for it. I don't know why. I don't even know at this point, guys. I've lost it. I've completely lost it. It's not like I hate lab work. I love lab work, but I can't do this. I am literally going to break my bank. I will buy a multi-channel pipette if that is what I need to survive my final year project or just the lab in general. So this is me trying to complete it to the very best that I can. I am trying, guys. I'm trying. I'm trying so hard to complete this project because I'm towards the end already and I'm just sick and tired. I am done with this. And I finally am done. I finally completed the long part. It's so long, guys. It is so long. I think I lost my mind a little bit. And once again, like I didn't learn the first time, I'm going to hit this plate on the table. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. But anyways, I have to put this in the dark for 40 minutes. And I don't know why I set the timer before I closed the plate in the dark, but I have to set it for 40 minutes in room temperature in the dark. So I have to cover it in aluminum foil and then just let it sit. So yeah, I'm letting it sit and the 40 minutes timer is running. It is 3:41, guys. Wow. Anyways, after all of that, I clean up. I rearrange the pipette tips. I refill everything. And I go and keep my pipette tips away and basically start to clean up my desk. And it's been 40 minutes. Yes, yippee! We're down to the remaining 3 minutes. Uh, Obviously, I didn't spend the whole 40 minutes like cleaning up. I was going and talking to my friends. So right now, I'm heading over to the plate reader, and once again, it's in a different lab. So we are working. We are working. So that's my plate reader, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to let it tune. So let me just turn it on first, and now it's tuning. And you usually don't open the plate reader like at the end, like once the 40 minutes is up, then you open the plate reader. You usually open it earlier so it has time to tune and everything. So the 40 minutes is actually up. Before this it was like 3 minutes. Now it's finally over, and I am taking my plate out from the aluminum foil. And I'm just so glad that it's done, guys. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that it's done. So I open up the cover and I go to check my wells, and I'm seeing a little bit of some there's something in there. But whatever. I think it's normal to find like sedimentations in the extract part. So I set up the settings, which is 450 nanometers of wavelength, put it in, and do the readings. And finally, I get my readings. And now I just have to take pictures for each column. There's 12 columns, so 12 pictures to take of the readings, and I'm done. I'm done with the essay. Well, I'm done with the wet lab part. Let's move on to the dry lab part. Now, for the dry lab part, is mostly analysis of the um, results that I got, basically the readings. But in this clip, as you can see, I am not doing any sort of analysis whatsoever. Well, basically, I had to draw out my 96 well plates and show like what location where I did the Quasentine test, where I did my sample test, and um, like how I did it and everything. But when it comes down to the data that I collected, like the readings on the plate, I didn't do it here. I didn't do it in campus. I actually did it back home. So I'm going to show you a little picture of how the table looks like. But yeah, that's all I did today in campus, in the lab. And I'll see you next time. Bye.